democracy is the best form of government that we have now.
CSOs are able to help hold the government to account.
Inclusion is critical.
Getting persons with disability to be aware of their right to vote and to be voted for.
We had a much more credible coverage of the 2019 elections.
Nigeria is one of the 2 leading economies in sub-Saharan Africa. Yet the large population size, coupled with its significant youth bulge, estimated at 60% of the 211 million general population size, continues to interact negatively with other poor social indices, making democratic consolidation difficult. With about 34% of school-aged children out of school and over 40% of the population living below the poverty lines. These and other similar indicators underscore the vulnerabilities of some of Nigeria's marginalized populations. These vulnerabilities have created opportunities for collaboration with partners like the European Union, especially in areas of aligned interests.
I think the search for democracy is a universal one, and I think that every effort to support the development of democracy, development of human existence is key, and the European Union's intervention in Nigeria, which goes actually beyond Nigeria across several countries in the world, is part of the search for development of the human race. And I think that the contributions have been tremendous and made significant impact in the development and consolidation of Nigeria's democracy.
Given this, the EU's flagship democracy support program, EU-SDGN, aligns with the key priority area of the EU's cooperation with Nigeria, which seeks, among other things, to enhance democracy, participatory governance, and accountability. To achieve this core objective, the European Union designed the EU-SDGN in order to facilitate support to the core institutions that drive democracy. A key factor underpinning this intervention is local ownership, a strong belief that to be successful, the program must be locally initiated, led, and driven. Therefore, the EU-SDGN was designed with Nigerian partners and is implemented by Nigerian organizations with varied expertise, coming together in pursuit of an overall objective.
Support given by the European Union, the electoral process, of which INEC has been the greatest beneficiary, has helped to improve the way we do things at the Commission. Since 1999, elections have become more and more credible, and this has been possible because of the oversight by friendly nations, by friendly alliances like the European Union, that have encouraged us to adopt best practices, and have also supported us where we are weak to ensure that these things are sustained.
The EU has proved itself to be a worthy development partner in terms of supporting democratic governance in Nigeria. Support to the electoral process is just one component of this support. It's been going on since the return to democratic governance in 1999 up to date.
We supported the Independent National Electoral Commission and State Independent Electoral Commissions, which was targeted at, of course, first of all, strengthening the electoral administration through operations and logistics arrangements of the Commission. We also supported aspects of political party management and oversight as is constitutionally mandated for the INEC Nigeria. We had a dedicated component to the State Independent Electoral Commissions of Nigeria, CX, where we provided targeted interventions, modeled specifically to ensure that the decentralization of election management in Nigeria is strengthened through that particular output.
The EU-SDGN supports the National Assembly in the discharge of its legislative functions in compliance with democratic principles and standards.
One impact that we celebrate so much is our support to the National Assembly, and specifically some committees in National Assembly. And one of them is the Constituency Outreach Committee. Through EU-SDGN, we supported that committee, and that support actually led to the formulation and the development of a constituency outreach manual. Today in the National Assembly, you have an active constituency outreach committee that holds National Assembly members to account on how they are engaging with their constituents.
To implement activities of the EU-SDGN Phase 1 in terms of support to the National Assembly and electoral reforms. So for instance, by developing a legislative guidance tool on effective oversight of inclusivity, on having roundtables between INEC and electoral stakeholders on inclusivity issues, on strengthening the capacity of national and female stakeholders by carrying out an internship program at the National Assembly since 2018, and by supporting the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions and the House Committee on Public Petitions.
To ensure pluralism, tolerance, and a smooth internal democracy, the program works to support political parties.
The EU has given us very specific and unique, support for all our interventions. For example, the signing of the peace accords that we have seen and the mediations and conflict management that the Peace Committee has given at the national level. That has been expanded, to include accords at off-cycle elections in all the states where off-cycle elections, take place. And we can see that from the 2015 general elections, when everyone has predicted that Nigeria was going to completely disintegrate.
We coordinated what we call a nationwide security threat assessment, where we were able to identify key risk factors ahead of the elections. We were able to identify hotspots ahead of the elections. And we used the findings to engage stakeholders. We engaged in a manner that stakeholders were aware of expectations. We engaged in a manner that stakeholders actually took steps to address gaps identified within the system.
According to Section 22 of Nigeria's 1999 Constitution, the watchdog role is a constitutional duty of the media, and they have the duty to ensure the government is responsible and accountable to the people.
We provided support in a number of areas. For example, build the capacity of journalists to be able to engage with the electoral process. We had series of trainings for them on conflict-sensitive reporting of elections, on fact-checking reporting of elections. We published a number of resource materials to further enhance the role of the media in the democratic process.
In the industry today, one of the things you will see as a result of this will be something like media organizations, developing synergies, if you like. Working together. It didn't used to happen. We want to cover election. Okay, let us share resources. And they will say, okay, let's deploy our reporters, for example, across the state. One organization cannot have enough reporters to do that, but they do cooperation.
Well, I would also say that with being able to form a media coalition that has reached over 30 million Nigerians with elections reporting across the nation, is another impact that we are proud of.
The EU-SDGN recognizes that inclusion is a must for sustainable development, so all its programs and activities are structured around not leaving anyone behind.
The support to promote the inclusive participation of underrepresented groups in the electoral process for me was awesome, in the sense that the underrepresented groups we're talking about, youth, women, and persons with disability, constitute the highest demography in Nigeria. As you may be aware, the youth constitute more than 70%, while women constitute about half of the population of Nigeria. And of course, the persons with disability also constitute a substantial percentage of Nigerians.
The support has brought with it significant impact on the strategic position of the organization in the governance sector of Nigeria. First, because of the idea of the Gender and Election Watch Room that materialized through the support we received.
Our focus in EU-SDGN project
is aimed at mobilizing, data that will support people with disabilities participation in the electoral process. It may interest you to know that over the years, we have been pushing for, access to polling units in this country.
I would say supporting INEC and influencing disability inclusion in the electoral process. I would also say that the advocacy to get the president to sign the Disability Act in 2018.
For me, what truly stands out is the fact that in 2017, we started out with 13 organizations who knew each other, who had perhaps worked with each other on, on maybe similar programs, were in the same space, but who were then brought together as a team to deliver as one. Now that we have started EU-SDGN II, we expect to see more of the innovation, more of the team spirit. We also have new partners that have come on board, and this promises to be a cohort that would deliver even more results for not just the people of Nigeria, but for every stakeholder that is part of this very, very important process.
What can Nigerians expect? I think the Nigerians have the right to expect a better election, a clean, fair, credible election, and we are here to play our part in this.
We essentially advancing the rights of women in politics and public life, amplifying the voices, ensuring that we engage, encourage, equip them to run.
We're going to increase the level of youth representation in public office. We're going to create more platforms for citizens to interact with their legislators.
We are going to create more channels of participation, for journalists.
We have nowhere to go except to work together to build Nigeria, and that is what we are committed to do.